There we go. Hi, this is Elizabeth Brewington, the producer of Brightside Global Trade TV, and I have with me some very advanced tech women, and I love tech women, and they will be talking about vets in tech. So as many of you are veterans in our watch our show and attend our events, I think you will be very inspired by this segment. So I have with me Catherine Webster, who is the founder of VetsinTech, and I have Ikram Mansouri, who is the COO of VetsinTech. And without further ado, I'm going to ask these wonderful ladies to introduce themselves and tell us about this wonderful foundation that's helping veterans with their tech needs. So over to you, Catherine.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So yes, I'm Catherine. I'm the founder and CEO of VetsinTech. And a little bit about our background. We are now 11 years old. We are 72,000 strong across the country in over 20 chapters. And about 10 years ago, I was leading Tech Central SF, the tech ecosystem here in San Francisco. And we really were working with women in tech and girls in tech and teens in tech. But looking at my father's military photo, I wondered why we were not doing anything to support our veterans. And especially this new, our younger veterans, especially the new generation is growing up so tech savvy. They grew up on mobile and social and games, and it was just a matter of timing that it was great to put the veterans and now military spouses together with the tech industry. So I went to Craig Newmark, Craigslist, who is now my co-founder, and we put on this hackathon for the veterans, and they said, please do more of this, because the only thing we ever get invited to are really lame career fairs. Those were their words. And yet this was perfect for them because, they were just gung-ho, roll up my sleeves, crank out a company over the weekend. And it was perfect for them. And the employers who showed up said the same. Please do more of this. These are exactly the people we have been looking for. An important note too is we have been primarily serving the enlisted ranks, which about 63% identify as minorities. It's just a little more diverse in the enlisted ranks. So we have really been big in the DEI space for a long time. So we decided to create VetsinTech out of that very first hackathon and to focus on education, employment, and entrepreneurship. And then I'd love Ikram to introduce herself. I'll talk a little bit about education and employment, but Ikram has also been our leader in entrepreneurship as well. So Ikram.
Absolutely. And Catherine is the OG in tech. She's been in tech since she was 19. It's so much to not only learn, but also provide for our community altogether. I'm an Army veteran. I'm a combat veteran. I honorably served. It was such a privilege to serve and also go to combat, etc. Ex-NSAer, a techie as well. I did quite a bit of work in using AI actually and machine learning to bring down the bad guys, right? And then from there, entrepreneurship and academia. And I had the privilege of meeting Catherine and working with her for the past 5 years, and officially came on as COO last year. And we've been busy. We've been busy way before last year, but it's so much. We're still, even though we're like, it's hard for me to even imagine that we're 11 years old this year. It's still so much to do and accomplish. Like, we're still scratching the surface, and we're just ecstatic to kind of bridge that gap that we have in the tech ecosystem as a whole. Like, as Catherine said, we do education, employment, and entrepreneurship, and we'll expand on that in a little bit.
Well, thank you for your service. And I understand that you yourself have your own tech company, and you're such an inspiration to us. So thank you for all that you both actually are doing, and thank you so much for your service. So my next question before we get into more details is, tell me a little bit about this upcoming conference. And I know we are hosting our conference on the 30th, but this is wonderful that you're doing yours on the 31st, so I might be able to send some veterans your way. So tell us about this conference and how can people register and what can they expect, and yeah, so tell us all about it.
Yeah, sure. So the conference, which is our largest annual conference, it is our national conference. It is called the Invasion. It used to be called the Invasion in Silicon Valley because we would have hundreds of veterans converge on the valley to meet our tech companies, in which we have over 40 of the largest tech companies in the world, really, who are behind and sponsoring VetsinTech. So we will have all three tracks, so a reflection of VetsinTech itself in education, employment, and entrepreneurship. It'll be extremely interesting, a couple of very interesting keynotes. We have Chris Gronkowski, the brother of Rob Gronkowski, who's a little, but they have all been in the NFL, and Chris was featured on Shark Tank and the inventor of a product called the Ice Shaker. So he's going to come on and talk about the experience on Shark Tank and some important lessons learned for our veteran and milspouse entrepreneurs. We also have Chris Krebs, who will be doing a fireside chat with our very own Craig Newmark, all on the topic of cybersecurity and kind of misinformation and disinformation. And Chris was, you can look him up in Wikipedia, very involved in the 2020 election as he headed CISA, which protected the election and was one of the guys to declare this was one of the safest elections in history. So really interesting keynotes and other speakers around, as I said, education, employment, and entrepreneurship.
Wonderful.
And we are expecting probably around 800 people in attendance.
And if I may add, Catherine, some of our biggest, some of the key sessions, right? Like we have a panel on new technologies trend, like careers in cybersecurity, women, veterans, and military spouses in tech, or entrepreneurs. We also have a Vet VC, which stands for Veterans or Venture Capitalists. And that's a project, an effort that we've been driving along with JP Morgan, who are a partner of ours. And what that essentially does is that, representation among species does matter. And so the money eventually does trickle down. So there's quite a bit of and one of my favorite, actually, maybe Catherine's too, is demystifying tech, right? So although we do train in technical skills, we all understand that tech isn't all coding, isn't all engineering. So it's extremely important for our community to understand that. And our veterans and military spouses make great managers, program managers, product managers, project managers. So that's just a little bit of snippets here and there.
Well, that sounds great. So get registered. This is a conference you don't want to miss, and we'll make sure that we put the link so that you know where to register.
Easy.
Yes,
it's vetsintech.co, and you go under events and you click on Invasion.
there you go. So now you know how to register, so make sure. So we have just a few minutes left. So I wanted to just quickly ask you about artificial intelligence and what it means to you. And I'll just make it very broad because we're introducing a 30-day challenge, and we'd love to have your opinion on that.
Sure thing. So I'll start, and then I'd like Ikram to chime in on some of her experience with that. But today in education, we have the VetsinTech Academy. And so we are training 1,000 veterans a year in not only an AI and machine learning through a partner of ours at North Carolina State University. Then we have web development and cybersecurity. And we've just become an Amazon authorized training provider. We're training quite a bit on Amazon Web Services, certified cloud practitioner, and also security. And so a lot of that is in there. And data science as well, which plays an important role, of course, for AI. And so lots going on there in training and making sure that our veterans are always up on the latest and greatest technologies. I had mentioned and just really quickly, and then let's move on to Ikram. In employment, obviously with leading tech companies that we're working with, and some of them are working on their own versions of that, including a Google and Facebook, and we've had companies like that, Salesforce, that we've had from the start, Accenture and Microsoft, and then now moving on, we have companies like Amazon and Disney and Uber and Slack and Reddit. And so some of the best companies on the planet really are behind VetsinTech and in need to be up on all of these latest technology. So our job is to really kind of help with the training aspects of that. Ikram?
Yeah, you touched on all of it. The only things I would add, Catherine, since we're talking about our amazing sponsors, clearly we would not be able to do any of this without them, our partners and sponsors. In addition to that, we do work pretty closely with the government as well. So like SBA, Innovation and Investment Office, or SBA for veterans, Department of Labor, and so on. And we do quite a bit of policy work as well. So there's a lot of change, there's a lot of impact that we need to have to improve overall on all aspects. Aside from that, back to the AI part of it, machine learning, it is pretty integral, like to, we can go on about all the different tools in AI that we can use, not only to run our businesses easier, but also get, tech jobs and et cetera. I think one of the biggest things we're doing this year is we're running a hackathon later on this year in August. And we will be using AI as a basis to support, the hackathon, the, ideation to launch type of situation. And we're pretty excited about it. And as Catherine said, we always do our best to ensure that our communities are aware of the latest trends and are able to use it, etc.
Wow, that sounds terrific.
I did want to just say one other thing also on the invasion that could be really interesting for those that want to tune in, and specifically like AI. We have each one of the innovation units of every branch. So you'll hear from, the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, and what they're doing and what they're looking for specifically. AI is a big component of that.
That's awesome. So I think that's about it. If you want to add any last minute things, and then I'll end this interview because we're on time. And I know you all have a very busy schedule. So thank you for giving us time today. So any last minute thoughts that you'd like to add before we close out?
I definitely do. Go ahead, Catherine.
Oh, just want to ask everybody to please join VetsinTech and really sign up for our newsletter at vetsintech.co, so you are made aware of these incredible opportunities with all of our partners. Just sign up to our newsletter.
And to add to that, I do want to say that our offerings to military spouses and veterans are scholarships. We do not charge them. So everything we teach is free to them. So I highly encourage them to join the community, and especially the invasion. And thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, and I know we've got quite a few with vets, so we'll make sure that they sign up. And
thank you.
Certainly, so VetsinTech.co with these fabulous women. So thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.